Hi, I'm Gail and welcome back to lowcarbrecipe-ideas.com. Today we're going to use a slow cooker. It's still winter, it's nice to put something in the crock pot or slow cooker before you head off to work or you're out for the day, so we're going to make a low-carb chili garlic ginger pork over BokChoy. So let's get started and I'll show you how to make it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to heat up our skillet on the stove and we're going to add 1.5 pounds of pork loin roast. Now what I usually do is I buy the big slab, cut the pork chops off the one end, and the other end is where I've got a little more fat and it's kind of in pieces, so I've taken this part. So all we're going to be doing in the frying pan right now is browning it to get it ready for the slow cooker. So if you're using a regular frying pan, you need to put in like 2 tablespoons of olive oil or some kind of oil in there. With this pan, I don't, because I just don't need it. It's a product from Germany and the brand name is Woll, W-O-L-L, and it's just a beautiful pan to use. So I don't need to put extra oil in. There is a little bit of fat on my pork also, so that'll help it, but truthfully I don't use hardly any oil because this is a non-stick. It's just an amazing product. Now I had bought it, they were doing a thing at Costco and that's where I ended up buying it, but you can't buy it online through Costco. If you look up online you can find the product there. It's expensive, but you know what, I'll have it for the rest of my life. And if I take care of it, I will never have to worry about having to replace it. So we're just, cooking on each side. We're going to brown them up, and I'm going to be throwing in my onion and garlic in a couple of minutes once I get this going a little bit, just to get the flavors released. So hopefully the frying pan isn't too noisy, but I'm just going to add in 6 cloves of crushed garlic, and I'm going to add in 3 green onions, and I'm just going to stir it around just to release some of the flavors, and then that's all we're going to be doing with the frying pan. Now this is the green onion that I use 3 of them, and I just cut them 1/2 inch spaces or whatever. There we go. So we're just going to remove this from the stove, from the burner, and continue. So now we're going to add our pork into our slow cooker with our onion and garlic. And that's one thing I can say about these pans, they're very heavy, so the older I get, I might be having trouble using it, I'm not sure. Or I'll definitely have to have hot pads all the time so I can grab the other side, because I find it very heavy right at the moment. And then we're going to add in a cup of chicken broth. And the chicken broth that I like using, it's organic, it's home goodness. And you can find chicken broth everywhere. Just look at your carb count and see what it has to say. Now this carb is 0 carbs and it's 0 fiber. So that's one reason why I really like using it. Then we're going to put in a 1/2 cup of water, a 1/4 cup of tamra, which is a soya sauce, and I like using tamra because it's gluten-free, it's organic, and the carb count's pretty good on it also. Then we're going to put in 2 teaspoons of ginger. Now I peeled it, it's fresh ginger. I peeled it and took the section off I wanted and then chopped it all up. And then I've got a teaspoon of chili garlic sauce. And I'll show you the container so you know what I'm using. And it definitely has a kick to it, but it's just got an awesome flavor. So we're going to stir this up. So you can cook it on high for 3 to 4 hours or low 7 to 8 hours. Now I do find that my slow cooker, even if it's on low, it's still quite hot. So I probably won't be cooking it as long, but you'll know when you're making it yourself. So we put the lid on and let it sit and cook. So now I've got my bokchoy, and I've separated the whites because they take longer to cook than the greens. So I'm just going to cut them into inch-sized pieces and get them ready to put into the crock pot. And I'm going to put them in earlier, probably for 15 minutes, and then I'll put the greens in. So I'm just going to set them aside, and then we will cut up our greens and have them ready to go in. Just to about 1 inch wide. There we go. So I've just turned my crock pot onto high, and I'm just going to put the whites of the bokchoy in, and I'm just going to stir them because these take a little bit longer to tenderize. So I'm going to put them in for approximately 15 minutes on high, and you can see that the pork is starting to fall apart, so I need to be careful when I'm stirring it around. So I'll just put the lid back on and let that sit for 15 minutes. Then I'm going to add the greens into the slow cooker. So it's been 15 minutes, so now I'm just going to put the greens in to the mixture here and just toss it a little bit. And we'll let it sit for approximately 10 minutes, and then we're going to be all set to go. The meat is so tender it's starting to fall apart, so that's why I started using the two utensils to try and keep the meat together. So the next thing that I do with this recipe is I like to slice up some zucchini, and I've got this Joyce Chen spiral slicer, and it slices up a couple of different ways, and it kind of does like an angel hair like this. My zucchini was quite small, so it's not as long. Some of them I cut, but that's what you're getting with the one with the spiral, and then the other is a shaved, and I cut them off so that they're not going to be so long to eat. And then if you don't have a spiral cut slicer, then you can just slice your zucchini up in kind of like spaghetti noodles, or some you can try and get them consistent, but it's very, very difficult. So now I'm just going to take my mixture of my pork and my bokchoy and all my spices, and we're going to just put it on top to all the different ways that I cut the zucchini. And I don't cook the zucchini, I just leave it the way it is because the heat from the other works just fine. So here is my chili garlic ginger pork over bokchoy and zucchini. It's a nice change. The bokchoy, we want it to still be a little crispy, but tender, and it's quite nice. Kind of like Chinese food, but made at home in your crock pot. So it's basically all ready to go when you get home from work or you're doing your errands. You put the bokchoy in for 15 to 20 minutes and you're all set. So I hope you enjoy this recipe. Go to lowcarbrecipeIdeas.com. Try this recipe and try my other ones. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.